Division II. They stack the line of scrimmage. There's Dom Hill. There he goes. Dom Hill 40. Dom Hill 30. Downhill Dom Hill. Touchdown. 61 yards.
Smoky.com presents the Texas High School Football Show on 365 Sports. Brought to you by Peter Chevrolet.
Medlock, they fake it to him. James Keeper off the left side, breaks the tackle, into the secondary, skips away, and he will score. Touchdown, Duncanville.
Here's David Smoke.
Welcome to week number 9 of Smoky.com presents the Texas High School Football Podcast and brought to you by Peters Chevrolet, peterscars.com. You can see all the great inventory of a dealership and an owner, Randy Peters, who absolutely loves high school football. We will focus in today on a couple of unbeaten teams. Stephenville in Class 4A Division I. Sterling Doty in his third year. He's 8-0. And they have Heritage coming up, Midlothian Heritage. And then also, well, it's a team that is rolling past people. Jamal Fenner, he's the head coach at LBJ High School in Austin. He'll join us as well. And they put up 88 points against Lampasas in a win against a very good team the last few years in Lampasas. If we look at some of the games, and later on we'll have the elite games of the week, but let's look at some of the key wins from last week. And there's just a couple that jump out at me. Highland Park beat Tyler High 42-14. That's not a surprise. The Scots are good. Remember, it was just a couple of weeks ago they beat Longview, and after their early loss this year, the Scots have been, well, doing what they do, and that is win. La Vega 40 and Heritage 28. I mentioned Heritage has Stephenville this week, and they're pretty good. They're really good. Lee Wigginton, the former head coach at Mejia, and then he was at Midlothian. He's really got a good team, but they're about to play back-to-back games against La Vega. And then Stephenville. La Vega's got a freshman running back, Bryson Rowland. Had over 300 yards 2 weeks ago and had nearly, 260 whatever it was in the win against Heritage. He is a freshman. And as Coach Hyde from La Vega told me, you can't catch him in a phone booth. Does anyone even remember what a phone booth is anymore? But they used to be on every street corner in most major cities and around most any city in America. Also, China Spring. 48-7 against Salado. Salado got them last year. Allen Hare had a really good team. Lost some key seniors. Rook Brown, who's now playing college football, and among a couple others. But this China Spring team, pretty good. Explosive on offense. They were that way last year. But their defense is better. And, you look at that region in Class 4A Division II, Region 3, Carthage, West Orange, Stark, China Spring. That will be fun to watch as that thing progresses once the playoffs begin. Also, Mount Vernon 41, Winsboro 21. Art Browse was there for a couple of years and helped turn that thing around, and of course last year made the deep run in the playoffs. He leaves and everything's just fine. They're just winning. I spoke to their superintendent, Jason McCullough, a couple of nights ago, and he said, hey, our defense has really gotten a lot better, and on offense, they're kind of like what you set up. You want to stop the run, we're going to beat you with the pass. You stop the pass, we're going to beat you with the run. And Mount Vernon unbeaten through. And Winsboro, coached by a good friend, Josh Finney, was at Mount Vernon before he took the job at Winsboro. Also, one of the other wins, and this was not a surprise, Grandview beat Whitney, but it was 55-10. This is the week after Whitney had taken Glen Rose down deep into the game and lost the week before, so that's a nice win. Grandview's just rolling along doing their thing as well. Malakoff 49, Groesbeck 28. Jerry Bomar at Groesbeck, they're better, but Malakoff and Jamie Driscoll, they just keep on cruising. And then also Crawford sends a message, Bosqueville. Crawford's better program. Remember last year during the regular season in district play, Bosqueville gave Crawford something to deal with. And then in the playoffs they met and Crawford smoked them pretty good. And so Crawford keeps on rolling along as well. So those are some of the games just from last week, just some that I noticed that caught my attention. And we have a pick-em on Sikkim 365 Radio on .com and also Smoky.com every week for you to pick 20 games each week. Now, coming up next, Stephenville is undefeated. They have the history. We know what they did in the 90s under Art Briles with those 4 state championships. And we know what they've done, in fact, recently with trips to the quarterfinals and semifinals. Sterling Doty went to Magnolia. He played on a couple of those state championship teams at Stephenville. We'll come back with his interview. They're 8-0. They're really good. They beat La Vega 35-7. Now Heritage coming up as Smokey.com presents the Texas High School Football Podcast continues on 365 Sports.
All roads lead to your largest selection of pre-owned in East Texas. 3306 West Grande in Tyler. It's time for a car buying experience you will enjoy at Peters Auto Sports. Cars from ultimate luxury to affordable economy, trucks from work to play to all-out adventure. Come by 3306 West Grande in Tyler or visit us online at Peters Auto Sports and take advantage of our nationwide delivery. It's all here. Peters Auto Sports in Tyler.
For a limited time, refinance your vehicle and have 90 days with 0 payments. Only at Genco FCU. Refinancing lowers your rate and you pay less for your car. You can't pass on rates as low as 1.75% for 48 months. Apply online today.
Annual percentage rate subject to change without notice. Subject to credit approval, membership eligibility, and loan policies. Go to GencoFCU.org. NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
My money, my future, my credit union. Genco.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stephenville football coach Sterling Doty joins us. 365 Sports Weekly High School Football Podcast. So you've been there now. You've kind of been able to kind of get everything you wanted in that program the way it once was when you came over from Magnolia. You guys are pretty good, Sterling. You're dominating a lot of people. Are you about where you thought you would be on schedule?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm very proud of our football team and our staff for the work that we've done so far. And, we're just always looking to get better every step of the way. And that's what we've done. You can see some good progression through the course of our season. And I think you just attribute that to our team camaraderie and chemistry, and they love working hard together through our process.
What did you think needed to be done? It's not as if Stephenville was off the map. It's just things had changed a little bit because the success there was a standard that was amazing. What did you see that had to be changed?
Well, I think anytime you come into a new place, you want to evaluate numbers, how many kids they have in the program. And I think it was important, my first year, we had lost a really good senior class, a senior class that took them to the semifinals in 17 and then got beat in the area round in 18. They lost that class, and so and the numbers were down. We only had 31 up on varsity, and so that dictated the way that we practiced and the way that we had to have guys go both ways. And so I think anytime you can increase participation numbers, and that takes time. You're not going to do it overnight. And so now I think finally in our third year in the program, I think our numbers are good and where they need to be. We have 4 sub-varsity teams, 2 freshmen and 2 JVs. A lot of kids are getting a lot of playing experience, so I think that's really important as well. And then just the weight room. We got to get in there and get our system installed and the kids. Our strength numbers have really gone up. Our speed numbers have really gone down. And it's also important to note this was really our first full off season. Mm-hmm. Started in March and then come back and got shut down in March with COVID. And so we're able to have some, just streamline our process for a full calendar year. And I think that's attributed to our success and the way that our kids get after it in our off season.
How much does it matter that you've been there during the times in which they had great success?
I think it goes back to your ability to build relationships faster with the kids, because they know that you are a former Jacket. And, you know, I was fortunate to be on the championship teams and play under Coach Browse and the staff. And, you know, so that they be able to look at me and the other assistants that I brought back that played here and see our pictures on the wall. And, you know, you just have a little bit of respectability with the kids just right off the jump. And, you know, it's Stephenville's always going to have really good, hardworking kids that, and you know, when the system's in place and the program's in place, and they believe in it, you know, then I think we can do some really special things here.
La Vega, Heritage, you have them coming up. Obviously, you beat La Vega. We know how good Don Hayden they are at 35-7. This is a nice district. It's not very big, you know, the 6-team district that a lot of people have. But your thoughts about this district and how does it make you better?
It definitely does. You know, Coach Hyde, they have been the standard for this district since, you know, we've been in it, you know, and then obviously you go back to the success they had before we were all together. But his program has been the standard. And then, of course, Coach Wigington, what he's done, you know, at Midlothian Heritage, what a successful program he has there, and the success since he took over that program and kind of built it from the ground up. And then you think about Brownwood and Alvarado and you know, and then Waxahachie Live, not necessarily the last 2 years, but what they were able to accomplish the years before that. And so coming into Realignment 2 years ago, when you first see it, man, you're like, we're 6-6. We got the worst record coming into the you know, 2020 season, with Heritage being a third-round team, lost to Carthage, Alvarado being a district champion, you know, Brownwood coming off an 11-2 year that they had, and then you go back to you know, Waxahachie Life, and they were sitting there at 7-4. And so you know, just with the District of Doom, I think is what the Campbells and the media folks, you guys kind of labeled it as. It's definitely, you know, one of the top in the state. And you throw in District 7 with Melissa and Argyle and Kaufman and Paris and Anna and what they're doing. You know, they're at Region 2 is stacked up, and you know, there's a reason why the state champion came out of our region last year, and a year before that, you know, La Vega played for it against Carthage. So, you know, really good football being played in Region 2.
What did you think? Argyle was so good last year, and again, they're good again, although Melissa got them earlier this year. But you lose to them 56-27 in the second round, but you're in the second round. You get to the playoffs. That's important, and that's expected at Stephenville, and you knew that. That's why you wanted to be there. But what did you think when your team walked off the field that day of what maybe they learned last year?
Yeah, you know, we going back to that second round, you know, we did some really good things in the ballgame. Man, that Argyle was so dominant offensively, and we got behind and we could never catch back up. But you know, really, you look at it, we had 6 turnovers on the night. We were able to move the football. I think we scored 14 in the first quarter, which was the most they had given up all year. We couldn't get a stop and get off the field defensively. And so I think we just went back to the drawing board. We were able to move some pieces around on our football team. We took 2 really good offensive linemen that were first-team all-district kids that were coming back for us, and we moved them over there on the D-line, and that has made an immediate impact. We took a kid that's playing tight end as a sophomore for us, and we moved him over to defensive end, and he's playing lights out as a junior. And so I think we just really invested in our lines, you know, both sides of the ball. We created some depth through that 20 season on the O-line, and so we're fortunate to be able to send 2 guys over, and then you know, bring 2 bodies in that played a lot last year, and we hadn't really skipped a beat offensively. So I think that was something important for us to learn, and as it's always a learning opportunity every step you go, and you got the opportunity coming up the following year to be better.
You know, you Coach Briles, Philip Montgomery, Randy Clements, Mike Copeland. These guys are all, obviously we know with Coach Briles, and he might be in Italy again this spring, but what those guys meant to you. What did you learn from being underneath of them and learning from them?
Relationships. They were able to connect so well with the players, and they just made it fun. And we worked extremely hard. That's going to be my next thing. It's just a work ethic. But we worked extremely hard, but you never really knew it, and because you're having fun doing it. And just that relationship piece. And you've known Coach for a long time, but man, he's still. When I talk to him today, I still want to run through a brick wall for him. And you say the same about all those assistants that you just named. And it's pretty sweet having Coach Copeland here. He's still part of Stephenville ISD. He's a sixth grade pre-athletics coach, and I just spoke with them just the other day. I don't think those sixth graders fully understand, who their coach is and what he's instilling in them right now, and just the value in that. So it's a pretty cool deal. But relationships, hard work, the belief system, and Coach Briles was able to come in here and do that. And really started in '88, and you can see some things starting to grow there in '89, and then bam, burst on the scene with the semifinal team in '90, and that's just hard work, relationships, and creating a system the kids believe in and know they can win with.
You mentioned when you were introduced that you were going to work them hard, and it's a different animal now. It's a different era. I mean, I'm old school, and I loved when I saw that. I remember that quote, work them hard. Are kids today ready? Do they want to be, right? It's just like they want to be worked hard. Is that correct?
That's right. I told them this the other day, their mindset and everything that they see through their eyes and hear through their ears, and the way they respond to it is no different than adults. So many times we want to label kids as being different and try to separate ourselves, but we're no different. I'm no different as a 38-year-old than I am at 18 starting all-state linebacker that we got Reese Young. And so everything that we're preaching to the kids, we need to make sure that we're following it ourselves, and so they bought into it. They worked extremely hard. They bought into competing in other sports in the spring. I think that's big time. You got to have guys that, especially at our level, 4A Division I with 1,095 on campus, you got to be able to compete year-round, because you can't get that anywhere else. You can't be on that free throw line in the fourth quarter, with the game on the line and have two freebies, and you can't get that pressure anywhere else. Shout out to our baseball team last spring. We had 4 key contributors on that team that also played football last fall, and so they went to the state semifinals and created a lot of momentum for us and a belief factor that we can do this thing, we can do special things, and so it all works hand in hand. And the one constant that's got to be, and that's the culture that's here in Stephenville, is that weight room. We're going to work hard 365 inside that weight room, and so our kids have bought in, and we can just play it every Friday night.
Let me ask you one more thing. Against Sterling Doty, head coach at Stephenville, you played there. You know that. I mentioned that. Does it help when you're at a program that has won before, that they understand that, the community understand, it's almost in their blood?
The skins are already on the wall. I mentioned it earlier. Inside our green room, inside our turf room, it was built in 1985, state-of-the-art. Back then, I always thought they built it when Coach here and got a little bit of success going, but actually I was told it was built before he got the job. And so inside our little 30-yard indoor, we have all the state championship teams in a big picture, big blown-up picture there on the walls, and we have the championship trophies, and we do a little push-up segment where we win state every day, and when we count, when we get to 10, we say DC. When we get to 16, we say SC. And so it's just little things that are ingrained in our kids every single day to be successful, and to know that we have the ability to win championships when we do things right, and when we work hard and we believe in each other and we love each other, and we do it together as a family.
Thanks for your time, Sterling. Congratulations. Good luck this week against Heritage.
Yes, sir. Hey, thanks a lot.
Sterling Doty, head coach at Stephenville, on the High School Football Podcast, 365 Sports.
All roads lead to your largest selection of pre-owned in East Texas. 3306 West Grande in Tyler. It's time for a car buying experience you will enjoy at Peters Auto Sports. Cars from ultimate luxury to affordable economy, trucks from work to play to all-out adventure. Come by 3306 West Grande in Tyler or visit us online at Peters Auto Sports and take advantage of our nationwide delivery. It's all here. Peters Auto Sports in Tyler.
For a limited time, refinance your vehicle and have 90 days with zero payments. Only at Genco FCU. Refinancing lowers your rate and you pay less for your car. You can't pass on rates as low as 1.75% for 48 months. Apply online today.
Annual percentage rate subject to change without notice. Subject to credit approval, membership eligibility, and loan policies. Go to GencoFCU.org. NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
My money, my future, my credit union. Genco.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
It's not like Austin LBJ hasn't been good. They've been good before. They've had a string of success before. But in fact, I remember doing a high school football game back, I think it was in the 90s, when LBJ hosted what was then Tyler Lee, Robert E. Lee High School, that's now become Legacy High School. And they were very talented. They've had a run. Jim Davis was there for a long, long time, had a nice run of nearly 2 decades as the head coach, and other coaches as well. We're now joined by Jamal Fenner. He's the head coach at LBJ, been that way for the last 3 years, and they have really caught the attention, actually almost 4 years, caught the attention of what they're doing. Jamal, thanks for your time. Sometimes people don't realize how good LBJ has been. Is it true that while you were probably 4A in numbers for quite some time, you had to keep opting up to 5A?
Absolutely, that's correct.
What was the story behind that, and what now allowed you to finally say, no, we're going to stick to where we're supposed to be?
Well, it was 2 campuses in one building. We had the Liberal Arts and Science Academy, and then it was LBJ. And so all those numbers counted together. In the Liberal Arts Science Academy, it was 1,200 kids, and in LBJ, it was right around 900 kids. So that made us 5A Division I on the athletic side, even though it was 2 separate schools, 2 separate principals, 2 separate administrations. It was functioning as one campus when it came to athletics. And so that recently split. We split 2 years ago, and that's how we ended up becoming 4A because that school has moved into another building on another campus.
Well, I knew about you, and obviously, but what caught my attention that maybe you were about to hit a different level, and I know LBJ's been deep into the postseason before, was 2018 you beat La Vega. And that's when I was like, wait a minute, because we know how good La Vega has been with Willie Williams and now Don Hyde. Then they got you the next year, and then you got them again this year, 28-7. What has changed? I know you've been good, but it seems like maybe you're about to be at a different level.
Yeah, we just feel like that the competition level that we're playing against, we know it's like you said, when we beat La Vega that year, we was the last team to beat La Vega. They went on a run and won the state championship that year. And we looked at it and said, man, if we were playing with our numbers, you know, in the 4A division, that's where we would be. And so we just really focused on the culture of the program. Like you said, it's been a winning tradition at LBJ, but we just feel like we've been able to get our kids to buy all the way in and truly believe. And under my leadership, that's what we've been able to accomplish. And so I'm just thankful to the kids for believing in what the system that we have. And we have some structures in place that I would say, you know, we didn't have in place previously.
Andrew Jackson, who passed away with esophageal cancer, and you were an interim coach the year that everything just did not work out, and he eventually passed away. What did he teach you?
Oh man, Coach Jackson taught me a lot. You know, we used to stay after practices. We would come up early, and he was preparing me to become a head coach. And so during those meetings, and, you know, we would just spend time together and talk. But he would just kind of tell me, these are the things that you need to do in order to prepare. You know, we're scripting offenses. We're talking about, you know, the behind the scenes coordinator duties that needed to be done. So he was really just preparing me to take on this role. But even bigger than that, I mean, he was a mentor of mine. He mentored my kids. He coached my sons. And we just were able to establish a really great relationship. And I was able to learn so much from him being a veteran coach, him being experienced and having a lot of success in his career. I just grabbed a lot from him and learned it. And just I apply a lot of those things now.
And you know, you played at Reagan High School, and obviously, and you know this, wasn't Reagan one of the powers in Texas back in the late 60s, early 70s?
Absolutely, yeah. Late 60s, early 70s, powerhouse.
Yep.
Even when I was there, you know, we were able to make some runs. I played under Andrew Jackson at that time as well. And we never lost to the teams in this area. We were a pretty good football program back then. And so that's what we feel like we brought to LBJ, that inner city rich tradition of football.
So what a lot of people who know you know, but maybe, and this is a statewide podcast, is you were a heck of a player. Man, at UTEP. And you ran back a kick, a touchdown for a punt on a touchdown. Your first year and your last year, I think a bowl game, you had a punt return for a touchdown. You're pretty good, 9 interceptions. How much fun did you have at UTEP?
I had a ton of fun. You know, it was a great experience for me. I was one of those guys that I was on the scout team my freshman year, but I traveled to every game on the travel squad because I was, you know, one injury away from being a guy playing, you know. And so and the year after that, you know, I ended up being a 4-year starter. And I started at punt return, started at corner. Mm-hmm. And, man, it was just a great experience being able to perform and compete at that level, but also, you know, just be a part of a rich culture and a brotherhood at UTEP. And we won the WAC championship my freshman year. And then we was ranked, you know, 24 my senior year when we went to the Houston Bowl. So I have some great experiences playing at the collegiate level at UTEP.
What do you think of Dana Dimmel? What's he's doing there right now? We had him on our talk show that we do in the afternoon. It's a nationwide talk show. How do you think of the job Dana's done?
Doing an excellent job. I'm excited for the program. I was actually there when they played La Tech. We were being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And so I was there, and I got an opportunity to talk to some of the coaches and see some of the players. And he's doing an excellent job. The culture of that program is peaking. You know, they're really doing an excellent job. So really proud of the Miners, and Coach Dimmer, he's doing an excellent job.
What did the win against Cal Allen last year in the playoffs mean that set up, of course, a crazy shootout with Miller, who they got hot with Bodie, their quarterback? And what did the win, though, beating someone like Cal Allen mean last year?
Yeah, to me, that was like a statement for us. Cal Allen is one of those programs that, you know, they have a rich tradition. They're always making deep runs. They have, you know, excellent coaching staff. And so when we won that game, we knew we was the real deal. And it just kind of gave us a boost of confidence. And it really kind of propelled us into that Miller game to where it ended up being that shootout. But when we beat Cal Allen, we knew we was the real deal. And our kids really got excited about the opportunity to try to go get to a state.
And I wouldn't say LBJ is a young school, but you didn't start football until the early, 1974, 29 playoff appearances, 18 district titles, and you're headed for another one right now after the who you've beaten with Fredericksburg and Lampasas, and they're right behind you. So the amount of points you're scoring. Now, you played really good people in non-district as well. Parish Episcopal, Cornerstone, we know who they are, among a few others as well, La Vega. But you just scored 88, is that right, against Lampasas?
Yes, sir. We scored 88 points. 88.
Now, sometimes people look at that, oh, my God, it got out of hand. But really, it's a 40-point win, 88, 42, whatever it was. If someone would have won the game 45-0, nobody says anything. Your offense did everything right. And, of course, what you got done as well on defense and special teams. What was that like putting up that many points?
It was unreal. It was unreal. We didn't realize, we had 88 points because it was a shootout in the first half. We looked up, it was 21-21, and it was still 2 minutes left in the first quarter. And so our message to our offense was, man, let's keep scoring. And defense, we know you're going to get it stopped sooner or later, and they were able to do that. They was able to get a few stops before we went into the half. But at halftime, we still didn't feel comfortable because they were scoring fast and we were scoring fast as well. But we just knew we could wear them down. They were playing a lot of guys both ways, and we kind of spot play a few guys both ways. But, we looked up and the offense had 11 possessions and 11 touchdowns, and that was just unreal. I've never coached a game where we've scored like that on every possession.
I've been doing this a long time. Jamal Fenner is the head coach at LBJ with us on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. I've been covering it. I remember a team back, I think it was 89 or 90, Groveton, which is, of course, got a rich tradition, not of late, but they had Rodney Thomas, who played at A&M, played in the NFL, and I think they put up like 80 against somebody, like Cooper or something, one game, and that's about as high as ever. I know six-man schools, Class 1A, they get a little bit crazy as well. So really for you, we hear about coaches at college. You want your first recruiting class to make a cycle. And a lot of times it's, what have you done for me lately? Isn't this kind of like, and I'm not using that recruiting, that's in college, but this is your first class that you had that's now come through the entire system with you as the head coach. How much has that meant to you to see them grow the way they have?
It's special. You just hit it on the head. This is my freshman class of my first year of being the head coach. And when you talk about growth and you talk about a career, you look at those things, the start and then where are you now? And so it's been exciting to see these kids grow and develop. We really didn't have a freshman team the prior years of this freshman class. And so these kids played freshman football. We have a core group with these kids. And so just seeing them develop into what they are right now is just so rewarding because we've seen them go through the grind and commit to the process and trust the process as well and believe in the system, and now they're having success. So it's exciting as a head coach to see that.
How much of the Friday night tykes has helped as well, and some of these young men were a part of that as well?
It helps tremendously. You want to have kids in your program that have a ton of experience in playing the game. And, those kids have been exposed through the Tykes and through Little League organizations and middle school football to the game. And so they understand the concepts quicker than guys who really hadn't had a lot of experience in playing. And so, I think it's a tribute to, when you invest time in a young age and kids learn fundamentals, they can learn and they can grow faster. And that's what that program has done for those kids.
One of the other stories about this year at school at LBJ is the principal. You didn't have one for the first month and a half. And so there's a little bit of that you had to deal with. And some coaches that don't have the athletic period having to find time to have film work with the players. How much of that adversity are you proud of what you've been able to overcome?
Yeah, we're proud of the work we're putting in, even though the setup is not, traditionally how it should be. And we just trying to overcome as much as we can. And so our motto is no excuses, we're going to find a way and we're going to do whatever it takes. And so that's what we've been doing. And, we just overcome all of those obstacles, and we have to build time outside of, the normal school day in order to get accomplished what we need. So we really focus on our practice schedule and the way we approach how we want to instruct our kids and get them to learn, the concepts that they need to learn in order to be successful. And we've had to deal with that in the past. Last year we had all of our coaches and the athletics and all that stuff, but previously we didn't. So we know how to work around that, and we've done an excellent job with accomplishing what we need to.
Do you think that situation gets better, that you start to have that more often? You have that opportunity, that time?
Absolutely. It has to get better. It's unacceptable because we're investing time and we need our kids for strength development, physical development, and even for mentorship and helping kids stay on top of their grades and, study halls and all of that thing. It's 90 minutes for an athletic period is a lot of time, and we need that. And so I think it does get better from here on out.
So you may not know this, but one of your coaches, Cedric Finney, he reached out to me over the weekend to tell me about your quarterback who had a huge game. Obviously, a lot of players did when you won the game against Lampasas. And then I come to find out, I contacted him about having you on the podcast. I come to find out, it made me feel good and made me feel old. I don't know if you heard this. He said, I've been a fan of your website since I was 14 years old. And I was like, Smokey.com is the website that I've owned since 2001. How good a guy is Cedric Finney?
He's an excellent guy. He's a young coach, a ton of energy.
Yep.
And, he let me know, that he loves you and what you do. And, man, I love Cedric, man. He brings the energy every day. He can relate to the kids, has great relationships with the kids. And he's going to be a great up-and-coming coach. And he's learning a lot. And he's invested in our program and building relationships with kids. So great guy.
How do you stay focused as a team? You've had that really sledgehammer is what I call it. I probably use that word, maybe that a very difficult stretch in non-district, and then included the wins I've mentioned. And now you're kind of in control of this district. How do you keep your players from losing focus?
Well, it's just 1 week at a time, and we really encourage our players to embrace the moment. We want them to be focused. Yeah, we want them to understand that you can't never get overconfident and feel like you don't have to prepare. And so we take 1 week at a time. We let them celebrate over that weekend, and then come Monday, we back to work. And that's one thing I'm proud of the kids, is that they've been able to remain humble and still understand that we have an ultimate goal, and that's to be playing, for a state championship and to win one. And so I think everyone knows that's our ultimate goal. They understand that. And so right now, us winning these games is just basically people being in our way, and we're trying to knock them out the way. And so we focusing on each opponent 1 week at a time, and the kids are doing a great job responding. And that's one of my biggest messages. You have to be able to handle success, and I think they're handling it pretty well.
All right, look into the camera, and we'll use this as a promo. Look in the camera, say your name and where you are, what coach you are, what team you are, what program you are, and how much fun you're having coaching LBJ.
Yes, sir. My name is Jamal Fenner. I'm the athletic coordinator, head football coach at LBJ Early College High School. I love football. I love kids. I love coaching this game. Excited for our program, excited for our kids, and we want to represent LBJ Jag Nation, Northeast Austin community. Really proud of what we're doing.
Man, you're doing a great job of it too. Jamal, thank you. And what a lot of people also, I'd say a lot of people, you just came out of practice. We're interrupting practice. I don't need to do that. I know Allen Iverson once said, it's practice, man, but I don't want to get you out of practice too much longer. Jamal, congratulations on what you're doing. Continued luck the rest of the year, and good luck, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Jamal Fenner, head coach at LBJ. The Jaguars ranked #1 in the state with us on Smokey.com presents the Texas High School Football Show.
All roads lead to your largest selection of pre-owned in East Texas. 3306 West Grande in Tyler. It's time for a car buying experience you will enjoy at Peters Auto Sports. Cars from ultimate luxury to affordable economy, trucks from work to play to all-out adventure. Come by 3306 West Grande in Tyler, or visit us online at Peters Auto Sports and take advantage of our nationwide delivery. It's all here. Peters Auto Sports in Tyler.
For a limited time, refinance your vehicle and have 90 days with 0 payments. Only at Genco FCU. Refinancing lowers your rate and you pay less for your car. You can't pass on rates as low as 1.75% for 48 months. Apply online today.
Annual percentage rate subject to change without notice. Subject to credit approval, membership eligibility, and loan policies. Go to GencoFCU.org. NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
My money, my future, my credit union. Genco.
At At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Thanks again to Sterling Doty of Stephenville, and also to Jamal Fenner, the head coach at LBJ in Austin, for being a part of the show today. And, of course, thanks to PetersCars.com, Peters Chevrolet in Longview, for their sponsorship of this weekly podcast. If you ever have a suggestion of a guest that you want to send to me, you can do that by emailing me. And I wish I would have put this up on the screen, but it's Smokey, SMOAKY, and then 4 letters that represent high school football, Smokey, HSFB@gmail.com. Send me a nugget, an interview, or a program that's maybe flying under the radar, or maybe a human interest story. We'd love to tell that story if we possibly can. So here are the best games of the week coming up. And we're down to the last 2 weeks of the high school football season. This is week number 10. 11 regular season weeks. Everyone gets a bye, so it stretches out to week 11. At the very top, it's a private school game with Nolan Catholic and Parish Episcopal out of Dallas and Fort Worth. This game here is a pick'em game. Both teams. Look at Nolan Catholic 3-5, but we know who they play, and then they get into their district as well. Right down a couple of notches, we highlighted Stephenville, and they're playing Heritage. Stephenville's a touchdown and a half favorite in that game. Galena Park, North Shore, and Atascocita. Atascocita's good, but North Shore, obviously, they're really good, and every year that's going to be one with North Shore probably. In fact, the favorite is on the left side, 10. Down to, I always do this. I have to do this at the beginning. I'll do this now. The number all the way to the right, the lower the number, the better the game based on the state rankings and the data of what Jerry Forrest and Pigskin Pratt come up with every single week. Here's another game, that Grandview and West game, 8-1. Grandview, their only losses to Glenrose, a 4A school, and West, David Woodard's got a team. They're 8-0. Also, Hallettsville, good game in 3A. In District 12, Hallettsville and Columbus. Hallettsville slightly about a touchdown favorite. We dropped down 3 or 4 notches all the way down to Mount Vernon, Pottsboro. That's for the district title in District 5, 3A, Division 1. Vanderbilt Industrial and Edna. It's a 1-point favorite. That's a heck of a game in Class 3A in District 15. Knox City and Spur. 6-man football game. Knox City's 5-4, but they've played good people. They're actually a favorite. Dripping Springs, I played them. Again, I played in high school in the 70s. Yeah, I'm old. Played Dripping Springs, beat them, I think it was like 36-7, I think, the score. I can still remember the scores my senior year. Dripping Springs now, of course, a bigger school in 5A. They're a 7-point favorite against Johnson High School, one of the newer schools. That's where Hayes consolidated, and Buda, Texas is south of Austin, and Johnson, a new school, they're 8-0. Also, the game between Windthorpe, they won the state title. They shocked the world, beat Mart last year on that extra point, missed it. Jumped off sides, Mart did. Jerry Hoffman talks about that. Windforce went for 2 and scored. They're a 3-touchdown favorite against an 8-0 team in Petrolia than the last game. 2 8-0s in 5A, Ennis and Royce City as well. So, thank you for watching. Again, you can email me, Smokey, HSFB@gmail.com, or get a hold of me on Twitter at DavidSmoke, DavidSmoak. Send me a direct message about a story, a coach, an interview, a program, a human interest story, and we'll try to tell that story here every week. The High School Football Show presented by Smokey.com and, of course, sponsored by Peters Chevrolet. For Armstrong Sims, always behind the scenes, but we can't do this without him. I'm David Smoke. Have a great, it's week number 10. 2 weeks left in the regular season. Enjoy the weekend of high school football. I'm David Smoke. Have a great week on 365 Sports.